So a new tank is back in the shop, 121B it is. It has been on sale for a couple of times already. We are getting it back for 15,000 gold right now. And let's have a dive deep into the details on this video, whether this tank is actually still relevant, if it is worth it, if you should consider buying it. You will know by the end of this video. Let's talk about the playstyle and general characteristics of this tank first. It is a relatively well armored tier 10 medium tank that is pretty close to the Russian mediums that we have in the tech tree, although we do have a ton of Russian mediums / lights, including the T100 LT. But the 121B is slightly different to those in one regard, and that is it does have 350 alpha damage instead of the 310 that most others have, which makes this tank a little bit special and just has this little bit of extra damage, which might be really nice for out trading the enemies. In general, it is very close to the T54 at tier 9, actually closer to the T54 than the T62 or the 140 are, as the 121B's armor is just slightly better than those tanks. So you might just enjoy this tank a lot if you have a lot of games on a T54 already. But also similar characteristic here is that it only has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is really not too much, to be honest, and it might be a little bit tricky in some situations. So I would recommend playing this tank a little bit more passive than other hull down tanks that do have good turret armor, because you simply cannot overpeak on hills, on ridge lines that easily. So it is, yeah, as said already, a little bit trickier to play. Yet this tank does excel with a really nice gun that is very accurate and does have very nice aim time. In combination with a good armor, you can just do a lot of stuff with it. Let's compare it to other tier 10 mediums a little bit. Namely, we do have the 121B in the comparison to the 121, the Chinese medium with a 420 alpha, the T62 and the M48 pattern. All of the others are tech tree tanks. That's why those tanks are for free, unlike the 121B. And don't think the 121B would be pay to win in any regard. It is very well balanced. It is not really outstanding at the moment. It was once a lot better, to be honest, as we just had the T62 and the 140 in the game, not many other tier 10 premium tanks, and also like the 121 has not been in the game yet, so the 121B was outstanding with its high alpha damage. That's not the case anymore, but still the 121B is very nice. If we are comparing it to the 121, the playstyle differs a little bit, as the 121, which you might assume is closest to the 121B, but it does have the high alpha gun that just does not have the best accuracy, so shooting on the move is not really an option with the 121. With the 121B, on the other hand, you can afford to just run around and just put out some shots on the run. Yet it is not the best at it. That's got to be kept in mind. It is more of a, yeah, it is, as I said, it's a little bit more passive than the T62 or the 140, because you simply don't have the best accuracy while moving. Yet for 350 alpha gun, it is really nice. The DPM is rather average, I've got to say. It is still nice, but since the pattern and the M60 got a DPM buff, the DPM of the 121B is not really that special anymore. Yet there are still arguments for the 121B. That is mostly the gun, to be honest. Otherwise, like, yeah, the armor is also quite nice. If you compared it to the pattern, for example, then of course you do have more hull armor, but you also lack the gun depression. So the pattern M60 would be easier to play. T62 does have also more gun depression, is a little bit easier to play there. Yet you do have more armor on the 121B again. 121 WZ, a medium of the tech tree, does have even more armor than the 121B. Yet it is a little bit more special in its playstyle, as you just have to aim in a lot more often. Talking about the mobility a little bit, again, the 121B is not really outstanding. It is at the average, it is relatively fast, yet does not have the best power to weight ratio. So you are in the middle of the medium field, and you can certainly do stuff with this tank, yet it is really not outstanding. Credit coefficient, you can see, is pretty good at 140%. That's got to be kept in mind. But if we are seeing the win rate on average, you notice that the 1-1B players struggle a little bit. Of course, we do not have that many 1-1B players yet. As you don't have a lot of gun depression, you just have a harder time out trading the enemies, and you will just have to work a little bit more for doing positive trades. Let's talk about the offers in the shop for a second. We do have the 15,000 gold offer for the 1-1B, including the legendary camo, fully equipped. This tanks comes, and you do also get 25 × 5 certificates. Those are only applying to the 1-1B, those where you don't really need them, but you can farm some free XP, which is nice. I'll take it, but it's not that special. There's another offer then, 20,000 gold, where you also get 2 Chinese containers, where you might get other Chinese tanks, but there is a big issue about those. The drop chance for the other tanks is about 1% only, so don't expect to get anything but some gold, as you do have 50% chance of getting 500 gold there. Then there's a third offer for 23 euros. I don't know the exact amount in your region, but there you get 25% drop chance of the 1-1B or 8,500 gold. This is really not an offer I would recommend, because usually the 16,000 gold offer that you occasionally get is just a lot cheaper, and I would rather go for the 1-1B for the 15,000 gold. So let's come to a conclusion here. 1-1B can be recommended for collectors and players of a above average level. It is really not too great at the moment. It is still a fun tank. It does have its special niche in the tech tree, yet it is really not that great anymore. The LT, I was purposefully not comparing it to the LT in the current meta, because the LT is about to get nerfed very soon. So yeah, 1-1B does have nice armor, nice gun especially, but there's not much more speaking for it. So only buy it if you just have some spare gold and want to complete your collection. So thanks for watching, that's already it. If you want to see me play the 1-1B and other tanks, then check out my Twitch streams. I'll see you there. Goodbye.